we would like to welcome you very much to this second panel. My name is Robert Koch. I'm a professor of law at the Hamburg University, chair of insurance law, specialized in commercial insurance and financial lines in cyber, and I have the pleasure to have Peter Wage on my side, and we will now try to monitor, that's not the wrong word, but to control this session. Peter.
Yeah, my name is Peter Wage. I'm working at Gallagher Re, and I specialize in cyber. I'm looking at cyber reinsurance contracts, so quite a specialized area.
Yeah, and our idea was that we have first an initial, we have a PowerPoint presentation by Giorgos Papaprodromou, it's difficult to spell for me, a former police lieutenant general who has a bachelor in law, and he was a former director of the Cybercrime division of the Hellenic police headquarters. He gave advice to many institutions, and he will give, he will start with a presentation on the risk scenario of the cyber, and then we will continue with initial statements of each speaker, 5 minutes, and then we will continue with a panel discussion.
Yeah, I mean, the idea will be that after each of the opening statements, it would be nice if we had some questions, okay? So we would like a little bit of challenge. We'd like to have a discussion, and we especially like it if you don't agree with us. That's the best.
Yeah, that's it. We want to be, I think the speaker wants to be challenged, because I'm not going to speak. So that's, Mr. Papaprodromou, it's your turn.
Thank you, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like first to thank the organizer of this conference to invite me to be one of the speakers. I'll try to be in time, Robert, and to have more chance to discuss. The topic I will briefly refer is my experience of participating in the mechanism that is called European Cybercrime Task Force of Europol. And we're talking about an issue that is both topical and interesting as concerns a sensitive and crucial mechanism available to the EU. And cybercrime is on the rise at a time when cybersecurity seems to be failing. To get into the subject, it is essential to understand the concept of cyberspace. I think this is key slide to cyberspace ecosystem, because this will help us to understand first what cybersecurity is, and when it fails, what cybercrime is. When we are talking about cybercrime, we are talking about the convention of failure of cybersecurity. This new dimension of space is full of complexities, and which in turn create uncertainties that individuals, companies, and organizations, or governmental or non-governmental, have to deal with. The difficulty of the approach is compounded by the fact that the two main pillars, that is technology and legal framework, are dynamic. That means are evolving every minute at any moment, and the complex institutional framework. On the other hand, the concept of technology is not new nowadays, but it is a continuous process of human societies, important moments of which have taken place in this area, in our country here, evidence of which are hosted in the museums of our country. So I encourage you to visit our National Museum here in Athens, where is the first tablet in Europe that I mean the mechanism of Antikythera. But at the same time, the concept of technology is hosted by two meaningful Hellenic words, the art and the reason. The definition proposed by the International ITU Union is closest of the approach of the issue. That means about set of tools, policies. What all these tools? Because we need to protect citizens, businesses, organizations, etc., and governments. Cybercrime in all its forms and versions is part of the EU's security strategy. Here we see the word cybercrime derives from two Greek words, crime, Latin crimen, is crima, and the word kybernetes means the governor of a ship. That told us Mr. Norbert Wiener, a mathematician and philosopher from USA, in 1948, wrote a book, Cybernetics. Here. In a few words, we say cybercrime, any crime that is committed in this new fifth dimension that is called cyberspace. Of course, we have the first international treaty known as Cybercrime Conventions or Budapest Conventions. Today, it's updated the details here. 93 states all over the world have 72 are parties, and others become parties in the near future. We can see the key areas of cybercrime today. Down, we see critical infrastructure protection, energy, energy and other health sector, for example. Privacy, in my opinion, is the first key challenge. Fake news, deep fakes, using artificial intelligence, for example, hate speech and cyberbullying. But if we see here, the core things here is child sexual exploitation, cyber frauds, that is the majority of cyber incident cases, cyber attacks, of course, drugs and medicines that have in the new environment, and other crimes such online gambling, etc. Here we see the strategy of EU to realize, have top priority for EU. Of course, cybersecurity, but if fails cybersecurity, we have cybercrime and is part of serious organized crime that threatens our societies. Of course, we need skills, digital skills, and awareness. I think that this conference has details or character of awareness. We need to realize, talking about task force, what is the mechanism of EU. We need mechanisms in defense level, law enforcement. We see, talking about Europol EC3 Cybercrime Center situated in The Hague, Netherlands. But in policy level and other agencies like ENISA. You know, ENISA is one critical organization of EU situated here in Greece. The other organization here in Greece is CEDEFOP, dealing with training issues. Here is the structure of EC3, Cybercrime Center, that belongs to the UCTF, is the body of directors, in saying a few words. What is the duties of this mechanism? Is the planning and implementing actions to tackle all forms of cybercrime. Information sharing is a very critical point. Raising awareness of EU citizens. Awareness is related with lessons learned from the cases we face. Developing partnerships with other actors. In line with EU priorities on addressing serious organized crime and terrorism. Some examples of the results of specific actions are shown in the following slides. Here is the IOCTA that the task force is involved to production every year. We have the landscape of cybercrime. At the same time, we have the threat landscape from ENISA annually report. We see we have increase of the cybercrime in the recent years. It's dynamic. Information sharing is to find channels from the law enforcement area, judicial system, etc., and other bodies. One example is about here in Greece, we had with Bulgaria and Cyprus a case about illegal streaming network, dismantled it through cooperation. Another case is about online fraudsters that our country participated. These global actions is a cooperation between Europol and Interpol all over the world. And the characteristic of these actions was that our country participated with all airports all over the world. We see the results of this action. Because victims were air companies, air tickets, buying from illegal way by details of card fraud. The task force on cybercrime as a part of European and international cooperation is currently facing a number of evolving challenges, culminating in the protection of democracy and human rights. I think this slide we have in mind because not the protection of the systems only, but the protections of democracy and human rights. Of course, technology plays a key role to the development of a single market, European single market, but the target is the higher level, and this is education and other factors play a role. Here I give you some recent examples about drugs that we find in the new environment, in cyberspace. Cyber criminals use new technology faster than law enforcement agencies. This is very critical. We use, here example, using armored vehicles to distributing drugs, or use cryptocurrencies to hide their traces. Of course, we have transition from cybercrime to metacrimes. In the previous panel, discussed about metaverse, etc. The other thing is about EU and our country, that we have now the same picture here in Europe. We have the countries, southern and northern. We have to follow and overcome obstacles to approach the average. The threat landscape here, hate speech and misinformation. One very critical point is to have digital skills for our future. Our future is our children, a vulnerable target, in my opinion. It's not only technological, it's a matter of critical thinking, it's a matter of cooperation, it's a matter to face the reality. Awareness, of course, is not a matter of one day, safer internet day, or a cybersecurity month. You know cybersecurity month? Month, October, each year. Of course, we need to have reporting system. Here in Greece, we are lucky today we have this modern system to refer any crime by platforms. We need other critical agencies like forensic units, very critical intelligence units, and international cooperation to encourage. Here is our forensic division, plays key role I have for 12 years served here. Following ISO standards, we need common standards. And as we say, the word ISO comes from Greek word isos here, SA organization. Finally, closing my presentation, need to have partnership between academy, public sector, private sector. We give some examples here, No More Ransom initiative, that is very critical, and Say No campaign. Of course, the idea of prevention comes from the father of medicine, Hippocrates, that says prevention is better than cure or investigation. What we need, consensus and political will, strategy and vision, culture, legislative and regulatory gaps to closing, and of course, the meritocracy, transparency, and justice. All this should or must be done, and have in mind that technology is the result of human activities in order to have welfare and human-centered technologies. It's up to us to become a bridge connecting technologies with our security and well-being. Thank you for your attention. Keeping my time, Robert.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Papaprodromou. It's always difficult to pronounce for me, for your very interesting presentation, which was very much focused on the risk, on the digital risks. We now